Welcome to Flourish in 5. My name is Heather Lottinen, and every Friday I share a story, a lesson, or a quick idea with the goal of helping you gain a new perspective. If you could please leave a comment, I would love to have a conversation with you. Also, like, share, subscribe, all of those things. I would really appreciate it. Today, I just wanted to quickly share with you that I am currently reading Brene Brown's new book called Atlas of the Heart. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that it is a beautiful coffee table book. It's actually printed in 4-color, which is a little bit unusual, but that didn't stop me from marking it up and writing in it because I think books are meant to be interacted with. I cannot recommend Brene Brown highly enough. Her podcast, her books, I consume all of it. She actually has a 3-part sister series, she's calling it, on Atlas of the Heart that I recommend you listen to because I want to do a deep dive into this book in the future. There's something really quickly I wanted to share with you today, but I've actually listened to those 3 episodes twice. I listened to it prior to reading the book, all 3, and then I listened to them again, but this time it was with Ella, my daughter. We were in the car, we were listening to it. She's familiar with Brene Brown's work. And so I wanted to have a conversation with her around it. Essentially, what Brene talks about in the book is that we are very limited in our ability to describe our emotions. According to her research, most people listed 3 emotions: happy, sad, or angry. And they really didn't have the language in order to describe what they were feeling. And she argues, and I think rightfully so, that you can't properly process your emotions if you haven't described them accurately. And think about it. If the only thing you have is angry and you call up your friend or you're talking to maybe your spouse and you say, I'm so angry, they are going to respond to angry. But also, what if it's not anger that you're feeling? What if you're actually hurt or embarrassed or scared? Then they're not responding to the correct emotion, which means they certainly can't help you on the level that you require. So the point of the book is it's critically important that you accurately describe your emotions. I just want to really quickly share what she says. When we don't have the language to talk about what we're experiencing, our ability to make sense of what's happening and share it with others is severely limited. Without accurate language, we struggle to get the help we need. We don't always regulate or manage our emotions and experiences in a way that allows us to move through them productively, and our self-awareness is diminished. So again, most people can only describe these 3 emotions. Maybe you have a few more words. She actually has 87 in the book, and she breaks them down into categories. Okay, so Ella and I were listening to this podcast recently, and now every time one of us says an emotion, we question one another. So for instance, the other day I said, I don't remember the context, but I was like, I'm so mad, I'm so angry. And she said, could you describe that using different words? Tell me more. Say more about that. And so I would start to explain, well, this happened and I'm feeling that. And then I've done that with her as well. But because we both listened to this material, it doesn't come across in any type of accusatory way or like, why do you feel that way? It's just tell me more, explain it, so that you can talk it out and understand your own emotions better. It's actually been a really fun process to walk through with her. So when you read the book or we go deep in the podcast, I would recommend working through it with important people in your life because it would make a difference. Okay. But the one thing I did want to share that really blew my mind is the difference between stress and overwhelm. So a lot of times you might find yourself saying, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed. There's just so much to do. Or you might use that interchangeably with the word stress. Brene says that emotions, the words we use, they shape our emotions. So you have to be really careful. We've talked about this in previous episodes, not about these words specifically, but about how important it is you choose your words accurately because they shape emotion. If you say you're overwhelmed, you are going to feel overwhelmed, even if you used the wrong word. So according to her description, and again, when we go deep, I'll read to you this information because I think it's so important. Overwhelm is like the world is moving faster than my nervous system can handle. I am physically shutting down, like done, over. I cannot cope. That's overwhelm. Most people use that word to actually mean stressed. And stress is, I have a lot on my plate. I have a lot to do and I need to prioritize. I need to focus. I need to look at it. But overwhelm is shut down. So I said, we were on an Elevate call recently and somebody said they were overwhelmed. And I said, well, we need to explore that word, because are you about to have a neurological episode, a breakdown, a seizure? Are you about to fall on the ground? Because that's what overwhelm means. Overwhelm means you physically, neurologically cannot keep up with what's happening in your world and you are shutting down. That's overwhelm. And I would argue that for most of us, that's pretty rare. More often the case is stress. I just have a lot to do. So now when we're on calls, somebody will say they're overwhelmed and I'll say, okay, that's fair. Is it just that you have a lot to do? Maybe you just have a lot on your plate. Maybe you need to quit some things. Maybe you need to focus. But overwhelm, the only way to cope with overwhelm is to shut down, do nothing, maybe take a nap, maybe take a day off. And I mean nothing. Like you just can't process a single thing. It's the very extreme ends of stress. But learning this and understanding it now gives me and my daughter the ability to choose our words more thoughtfully. So she tends to say that she's stressed and overwhelmed because she has a lot going on in college. But I doubt now she's going to use the word overwhelm, because if she uses the word overwhelm, I'm going to say, okay, then it's time to shut down, close everything down and go to bed, take a nap, get away, whatever it needs to be. But stress is, I've just got a lot going on. I wonder if you're doing this. I wonder if you are using a limited vocabulary to describe your emotions and it's not accurate. I think we're all doing it just simply because we don't have the words. And that's what this book gives us. So I highly recommend that you pick it up. Listen to the 3-part sister series. It's on her podcast, Unlocking Us, on Spotify. And then check back in when we do our deep dive, and I'll see you in the next episode.